Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School, and I wanted to talk to you guys about something real quick. I'm reading this article on Yahoo Finance, and it basically says that it accentuates or really sort of highlights the way student loans and student loan debt has hit the black community pretty hard. And I have some theories on that. You guys maybe have heard some of these, but we'll read the story first. It says 12 years after starting college, white men have paid off 44% of their student loans, while black women owe 13% more. It says the experience of repaying student loans is unpleasant, blah, blah, blah. For black borrowers, the picture is even bleaker. Black women see their loan balances actually grow 13% on average 12 years after leaving school, while black men see their balances grow by 11%. The age at which students enter college also plays a role in their ability to pay off debt. Students who start college at age 20 or older have paid off just 5% of their debt 12 years after leaving school. Students who enter at 18 have typically paid off more than a quarter of their debt. I think that's interesting. We think that the ability to pay off debt as only having to do with we think of the ability to pay off student debt as only having to do with student debt, says Mark Hilson, Associate Director, Policy and Research at Demos. He says, we know the ability to pay off your loans has everything to do with wages and the ability to gain secure employment. It has everything to do with housing affordability. It has everything to do with childcare costs. His analysis is the latest to indicate structural inequities means that the student debt burden is experienced differently by different types of borrowers, and that a borrower's demographics dictate in part how much of a financial benefit they get out of their degree. Undoing the harm caused by the nation's 1.5 trillion student loan problem requires a broader solution like mass debt cancellation. So Demos, I think, from what I understand, they are an organization that is pretty much on the liberal side. They're pretty much in alignment with, like the Democratic Party, which you guys know I have mixed feelings about. Excuse me. But they talk about race and privilege. Other data helps to illustrate why that's the case. White households with a bachelor's degree have about a $400,000 net worth compared to $68,000 with black households with a college degree. The differences in assets can have a major impact on a borrower's ability to repay their student loans, and our current system doesn't do enough to address that, the report argues. Okay, so they're doing a good job with research and advocacy and things like that, and I think that's fine. Let me give you a perspective on this that'll help you kind of understand this. Student loan debt is one of the biggest economic mind tricks in history. It's one of those things where we have been convinced to overpay for a college degree, which is not a good economic decision long term. I know a lot of people who went to trade school who learned how to start a business, and by the time they're 23 years old, they're owning homes and they're out of debt, things like that. Actually, a lot of the people that become millionaires in America, automatic millionaires, are people that drive pickup trucks and have regular and maybe they go and they do electrical work for other people or whatever. They're not sort of in this so-called elitist class where you took on a huge debt burden to get into that class, and then next thing you know, you're so deep in debt that you really don't have a time to accumulate assets. Asset accumulation is built primarily on your assets exceeding your debt levels. So if your debt levels are super high, especially if you're black and you're starting to accumulate assets, nobody left you a big inheritance or anything like that, then you may not be till you're 50, 60 years old that you actually have a positive net worth, and that's if you're lucky. So a lot of black college graduates are actually pushing the wealth gap, or pushing black people backward economically. They're expanding the wealth gap, unfortunately. So it's no disrespect to anybody that went to college. I went to college too, and I took on student loan debt as well. So it's a common issue that a lot of people face. Mass debt cancellation, I think, would be a good thing for the economy. I'm not going to argue against that. I am, though, going to argue against those who are seeking to accumulate more debt in order to get more opportunities to possibly apply for jobs. I find that black people are not always happy with their jobs. They don't get the same amount of income. They don't get the promotions. The white guys get the promotions. We get passed over. Racial discrimination on the job is rampant, and nobody pays attention to it. And so I personally think that black people have to focus our energy on asset accumulation as opposed to the accumulation of degrees. So What I would say is that if you have a young person in your family, it's okay if they go to college, if they want to take on a little debt, that's up to you. But I would also make sure that they understand the basics of investing in the stock market, owning real estate, and also starting a business. Because those skills tend to be the skills that matter the most for Black people. And I think the student loan thing is kind of a nasty mess that you're diving into. And I think the question you have to ask yourself is, do I want to give up $150,000 of my family wealth so that I can get this piece of paper that qualifies me to go work for a white person, right? That's what the choice is for Black people. So even though what this guy's saying, it makes sense. Yeah, sure, if they can do mass debt forgiveness, that's fine. But I think that, eventually when it comes to wealth, we got to move past this inequality conversation and move toward a prosperity conversation for the entire Black community. Are we going to spend all of our time just trying to become even with white people, or to catch up with everybody, or seeing ourselves as a disabled group? Or are we going to spend time figuring out how to actually accumulate and build something? There's not, in the Jewish community, there's not this constant rhetoric about inequality toward Jews and how the Jewish community is behind economically, and we need to have special programs to make sure the Jews are equal with everybody else, or Asians that, we need economic programs to help the Asians catch up because they're so far behind. No, the Asian community is having private conversations about, well, how do we own this grocery store? How do we own this restaurant? How do we own these assets so that we can get ahead, right? So I think Black people have to shift that discussion. Not all Black people. I know a lot of Black folks are going to be mainstream, going to do the same thing, and that's fine. I'm not judging. But those of you who have a vision for the future, I encourage you to move past these conversations of inequality and move toward conversations of prosperity and strength and economic power. That's how communities prosper. So anyway, I got to go, guys. I got a meeting, but feel free to hit the thumbs up button, the share and subscribe button. If you want to learn actually how to become a real estate investor, we're doing a free event in the Black Business School this Friday, August 3rd. Called the Emancipation Equation, on how to become a multi-family property owner. Julian Gordon, who is an expert on real estate, is actually going to be the person hosting the event. And so if you want to go check that out, just go take a visit to theemancipationequation.com, THE, that's theemancipationequation.com. I'm out of here, guys. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.